Hello there, Hidden Hermit. How you doing? So I just wanted to briefly talk about something quite wild happening in the skies at the moment, and that is Uranus and Mars conjunct in Aries. If I put the equation in this order, so yes, we have Uranus just right at the very end of Aries at 29 degrees Aries, and Mars is racing up to meet it. And this may explain why a lot of people are feeling a little bit prickly at the moment. And I've seen it all over social media. Hey, what's going on? I'm feeling kind of wild. And, well, yeah, this conjunction really is, it's been known as the bad boy of astrology, if you like, when Uranus and Mars meet in the sky. Now, just to give you a little bit of datage for you, while I show you some other pretty pictures. So the actual conjunction occurs on the 12th of February, and it lasts for 2 days, when they're at the same degree in the sky at 29 degrees Aries. And you'd certainly be feeling these energies in a couple of weeks leading up to it, and you'd certainly be feeling them a couple of weeks after it. But it's profound for a couple of reasons. First of which is Uranus has been in... let me show you another picture of Uranus. There we go. And it's an interesting buzzword here, genius. So Uranus has been in the sign of Aries for on and off for the last 7 or so years. And politically in the world, you can certainly see a lot of kind of aggressive, violent changes been going on. This only happens every 84 years. It will happen a few times once Uranus is in that sign, but yes, Uranus takes 84 years to go around the Sun, and it spends between 6 and 7 years in the sign. So what does this actually mean? Now, the best way that I can articulate it is through the language of tarot, because it's what I do. So here's the Tower. The Tower, one of the most devastating cards of the tarot, and this represents Mars. So we can put him over here. Here is the Fool. Now, the tarot is a system that predates, well, in its earliest form, it predates the discovery of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. But Uranus has been attributed to the Fool, and it kind of makes sense as well. This kind of youthful, a youthful and a bold adventurer, if you like. And indeed, the major arcana of the tarot tells the story, tells the Fool's journey. So we can put him over here. And here's the Emperor, who signifies the cardinal sign of Aries. So this is kind of how I see things happening in the sky at the moment. You have this backdrop, the blanket, if you like, of Aries, and Aries brings that here's the cardinal fire sign. He brings forth change in a swift manner. There's a lot of enthusiasm about him. The Emperor himself, when he's well dignified, he's the ruler who is prepared to stick up for himself, and his people, the people close to him, and he's completely willing to fight for it as well. So that's the blanket, and then you have the pillow, if you like, of Uranus, and Uranus is the traditionally he was called the Awakener. He brings forth kind of bizarre change. It's different to Pluto, which is transformation, and different to Neptune, which is another kind of a mystical flip, if you like. Uranus is the bit of the oddball. I mean, the actual planet itself is going around the Sun in a very eccentric orbit on its side. So yeah, a bit weird. So you're bringing forth a bit of a weird sudden change energy. And of course Mars, the Tower. Yep, the Tower is a devastating image, a devastating visage, if you like. Nobody really likes seeing the Tower. However, it can bring good things. There's a very good dignified side to the Tower. I'm talking of dignification. Mars is in Aries, so that's important because Mars is the ruler of Aries. So he's perfectly happy being in that area of the sky. He's perfectly happy bringing forth those energies, if you like. So you have this interesting idea of things happening quite quickly, things happening perhaps a little bit aggressively. If I was to just to use these slightly different cards, the Black Moon astrology cards here. So Aries is about the self, how you identify yourself, how you covers the first house as well. So that might be important in a moment. Uranus here is called genius, that kind of out of the box thinking with a sense of force. So I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And I think this can potentially affect most people as well. Have you been feeling a little bit aggressive recently? Have you been feeling like you need to make that change and you need to make it now? Have you been feeling like you're thinking out the box and you want to make these changes and you want to make them now? You're getting impatient. There's a kind of an air of impatience about the energy at the moment. Now, this won't affect everybody in the same way, but it will kind of it might affect more people in different respects to others. And when I'm doing my research, I'm thinking the one sign, if you've got placements in Pisces, if you identify as a Pisces sun, you've got your moon in Pisces, or you're a Pisces rising, then you're probably the one that's going to be less affected. Everybody else could potentially be potentially feel these energies. Uranus is the superior governor of all the fixed signs. So Scorpio, Taurus, I'm going to pop the moon out for a second, Leo and Aquarius. You may very well be feeling these things, and you're all fixed signs as well. So you prefer things to be stable, you prefer things to remain as they are. So this might make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, to be perfectly honest. You may need to ride the waves of these energies and until they dissipate, if you like. Scorpio, you're going to be particularly afflicted because not only is Uranus your superior governor, but Mars is your traditional planetary ruler. So you may be feeling very, very prickly. If you're a Scorpio with any decent planetary placements at the 29-degree mark, right on the cusp there, then you may very well be feeling these pangs. And I feel for you, Scorpio. If you are an Aries, you may very well be feeling this as well. If a lot of people attribute Uranus in contemporary astrology with the sign of Aquarius, so, and the sun is indeed in Aquarius at the moment, so you may be feeling it yourself. And like I say, yeah, Aries and Scorpio, your planetary ruler Mars, you may be feeling it in a little more desperate to manifest these energies. However, as I say, I mean, I'm kind of saying this in a sort of a bleak way, and I think the one thing that I did want to mention is Uranus has been traveling through Aries for quite a while now. In fact, Uranus entered Aries on the 27th of May 2010. It popped back into Pisces on the 13th of 8th on 2010. There's a little retrograde motion. But since the 11th of March 2011, Uranus has been traveling through Aries. So if you think about the last 8 years from now until then and see what's happened in the world, you've got a lot of extreme groups on both sides of the political spectrum that have really sort of stood their ground in certain aspects. We've seen a lot of turmoil, we've seen a lot of conflict with those conflicting ideologies, and I don't think that's really a coincidence. And most astrologers would probably mark that period, this Aries Uranus period, as a reason, if you like, or as a spark. Uranus left Aries very briefly on the 15th of May last year in 2018, and then popped back into Aries on the 7th of November. And so we're getting the last final pangs of Uranus in Aries before it leaves on the 6th of March in a couple of weeks' time and enters Taurus for a period of 6 years, I believe. So the next conjunction of Mars and Uranus is going to happen on the 19th of January 2021, but it will be different because it will be at 6 degrees Taurus and there's going to be a much different energy. Now, Uranus in Taurus is going to really argue with those, how can I say this, in the sort of stable dogmatic sense. And we're going to get a couple of 3 conjunctions of Uranus and Mars in Taurus in January 2021, in August 2022, and in July 2024. But like I say, the energy is going to feel a lot different. Aries is more about the you, your own personality. Here we go, Aries, the I am. So, you know, you're going to be, this has been a period of really trying to stand up for yourself, really trying to push yourself to the forefront of whatever ideological thinking that you wanted to expound. And Taurus is going to be more about the dogmatic collective, if you like. It's going to be very, very different. So yeah, who else might it affect at the moment? If you've got, like I mentioned this before, if you've got any major planetary aspects at 29 degrees on most signs, with the exception of Pisces perhaps, you may very well be feeling it as well. Also, when Uranus and Mars, when the actual conjunction passes through the midheaven, meaning when it's at the highest point in the sky, and that's going to obviously be different wherever you are in the world, that you may get flashes of impatience and anger, if you like. So be wary of that. However, if you wanted to start something new quite swiftly, perhaps aggressively, then it might be a good time in these next 2 days, the 12th, the 13th and the 14th of February 2019, or indeed in the sort of month, the month that kind of, yeah, so we're thinking mid-February to mid-March, you might be able to ride the wave of that energy. And so I realised that I'm posting this on the 11th, so like a day before the actual, what you call the superior conjunction, where they're at their closest point. But I think it might be worth just thinking that these things are happening. It's not going to happen again for 84 years, so it's in all likelihood, none of us will see it again, you know, unless you're planning on having a very long life. The only other thing that I'd probably like to say about this, and while I do that, I'll chuck the top deck out. There's the Fool and Uranus there, looking very cheeky in a way. Yeah, the only other thing I wanted to say is just be careful out there. Things could happen quite suddenly, things you weren't expecting, so you need to take a little bit of care. You need to, if you're particularly accident prone, and indeed children born in this 2-day period may very well find themselves to be quite accident prone throughout their lives. There's the Tower, bringing forth that change in force. So yeah, just be careful while you're out there. Just make sure you look both ways as you cross the road. If you're feeling a bit under the weather, just go straight to the doctor. You know, don't waste any time. Here's the Four of Wands, which signifies the last decan of Aries. This is where Uranus and Mars are sitting at the moment, and you've got that idea of completion, which is interesting because this mix is all about starting things. You could possibly expect to complete the things that you start in this time, but a very good time to crack that starting pistol, if you like. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else I can say about that, apart from, oh, it's quite exciting. It's quite an energetic energy, if that's an actual phrase. It's very interesting, but this idea of force, allowing you to really expound your personality and some new, unexpected things happening. I'm excited, to be perfectly honest. I wish I'd made this video weeks ago so people could see it more once it's actually happened in the next couple of days. But here I am. I'm doing it now. I felt the urge. Just do it. I wonder what that means. Okay, that's me. That's me for the moment. Hidden Hermit. Enjoy this Uranus-Mars conjunction, and I'll see you on the other side.